All right, let's jump straight into today's explainer. We're tackling a massive and honestly incredibly timely topic, demystifying the 2026 remote job market. Specifically, we're going to dig into the data on how it is actually possible to land a legitimate, well-paying remote role without formal experience or a traditional degree.
Look, if you've been on the job hunt lately, you've probably hit a massive brick wall with this exact question. How on earth do you get experience if every single entry-level job requires 3 to 5 years of it? It's the ultimate corporate paradox, right? It's like needing a car to get to work, but needing to work to buy the car. It can be incredibly frustrating when you're super eager to learn, but every listing just demands a track record you simply haven't had the chance to build yet. But here is the really good news. Straight from the latest career and industry data, we're seeing a massive paradigm shift in 2026. The digital economy has evolved so fast that it's created entirely new roles that literally did not exist a decade ago. And because of this, the barrier to entry has completely dropped. Companies are no longer just hunting for fancy credentials. They are fiercely prioritizing speed, capability, reliability, and soft skills over traditional pedigrees and expensive degrees. Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the 2026 remote work shift. Then, the top entry-level roles. Third, your hidden transferable skills. Fourth, dodging work-at-home scams. And finally, landing your first job. Section 1. The 2026 remote work shift. Why beginners are in high demand. So why the sudden demand? Well, there are a few unprecedented drivers here. First up, artificial intelligence is booming. But those AI models desperately need human teachers to review data and correct their mistakes. Second, as global e-commerce just keeps growing, the need for real-time customer support is constantly expanding. And third, social media platforms absolutely need massive teams of real humans for active content moderation to keep their communities safe. Because of these incredibly unique digital needs, soft skills now heavily outrank formal education. Honestly, if you're willing to learn and simply show up on time, you're already qualified for roles that value communication, empathy, and strict attention to detail. Moving on to Section 2. Top entry-level roles. High-volume remote jobs hiring now. If you look at the data, it perfectly groups this huge, kind of chaotic job market into 3 really actionable buckets. Under tech and AI, roles like AI data trainers and annotators are blowing up. You basically review data to help AI learn. And get this, you need 0 coding experience to do it. In support and community, we're seeing massive hiring for customer support reps and content moderators. Those mostly just require good judgment and a bit of resilience. And in admin and ops, virtual assistants and data entry specialists are in insanely high demand to help overwhelmed entrepreneurs organize their day-to-day chaos. These roles are specifically built from the ground up to onboard people with no prior remote experience. Now, what's really interesting about this is the number $68,400. According to the source data, that is the average salary for a remote quality assurance, or QA, testing job. This is a role focused purely on navigating new websites or apps and providing clear feedback to find bugs before they launch. It definitely requires keen attention to detail, but absolutely no tech background is required. It's just a fantastic example of the real earning potential hiding right in plain sight within these accessible roles.
All right, Section 3, your hidden transferable skills. Translating life experience into corporate value.
You might be sitting there thinking, but I don't have corporate experience. Actually, you probably do. It's just disguised. When we contrast everyday life with a corporate world, a completely different perspective emerges. If you were a retail worker, you weren't just ringing up items. You were practicing customer success and conflict resolution. Were you a server or a bartender? Boom. That translates directly to high-pressure performance and time management. A student? That means you've got proven chops in research and deadline management. It's all about translating your everyday life experiences into their powerful corporate equivalents.
The research shows that when you're putting together an application, you really want to shine a giant spotlight on these exact soft skills: attention to detail, empathy and patience, cross-team collaboration, and time management and organization. Remember, employers who are hiring beginners aren't looking for a perfect, bulletproof track record. They are looking for reliable potential. Documenting these specific skills properly makes you an incredibly strong candidate.
Section 4. Dodging work-at-home scams. Protecting yourself in the digital economy. Okay, we need to take a serious pivot here and talk about the dark side of this remote boom. Let's clearly define what we're dealing with. According to anti-fraud agencies, a work-at-home scheme is a deceptive or flat-out fraudulent job offer.
It promises easy income for remote work, but the catch is that it often requires upfront payments from you, the physical reshipping of goods, or moving financial transfers. It is absolutely vital to understand this definition, because falling for these schemes carries severe financial and, honestly, legal risks.
Let's break down the most dangerous variations. First, reshipping scams. You're recruited to receive packages and ship them elsewhere. Law enforcement warns that these goods are very often bought with stolen credit cards. Second, money mules. You're asked to receive and transfer funds through your own personal bank accounts. You're essentially laundering illegally obtained funds for criminals. Finally, bogus business opportunities. This is where you're heavily pressured to pay out of pocket for useless starter kits or required training before you can start earning. Participating in any of these can lead to you unknowingly committing fraud. So, the crucial point here is to arm yourself with a concrete defensive strategy. Step 1. Never, ever pay an advance fee. Legitimate companies pay you, you do not pay them. Step 2. Reject sketchy interview platforms. Real companies use Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or Google Meet, not text-only chats on Telegram or WhatsApp. And Step 3. Beware of the too good to be true trap. If a job offers $50 an hour for basic data entry with zero experience required, yeah, the data strongly suggests it's a scam.
Finally, Section 5, landing your first job, your step-by-step action plan.
When you actually start your search, there's a little strategic nuance you really need to understand. You'll see listings for remote jobs near me versus worldwide remote. You might think, why does location matter if I'm working from my couch? Well, in 2026, it still matters a lot for legal and tax reasons. Companies are bound by specific state or national payroll laws. Searching near me is incredibly smart because local companies are far more likely to hire you quickly, and it can uncover fast-tracked hybrid roles. But if you want true ultimate flexibility, or you dream of being a digital nomad, you should broaden that search to worldwide or national remote.
All right, let's bring it all together into a 4-step game plan. Step 1, update your resume right now by translating those everyday life skills into corporate value. Step 2, set up automated alerts on vetted job boards, places like FlexJobs or We Work Remotely that actually screen out the scams we just talked about. Step 3, apply immediately. In the entry-level remote market, speed is literally your biggest advantage. You want to be the very first application in their inbox. And finally, Step 4, use deep dive assessment tools like CareerSeeker AI. Think about it. If you're an introvert, a customer support role might burn you out in a week, but you might absolutely thrive in data annotation. Matching your psychological profile to the role ensures you find a fit that's actually sustainable.
Which brings us to one final provocative question. Are you ready to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start your remote career today? The barrier to entry has quite literally never been lower, and the data clearly shows you likely already have the exact skills needed to succeed. So, armed with all this knowledge, what's stopping you from making the leap? Thank you so much for exploring these insights with me today, and I will see you in the next explainer.